This Fleet Equipment Unscripted interview is presented by Hendrickson, a leading manufacturer of heavy-duty suspension systems and components to the global commercial transportation industry. Visit hendrickson-intl.com to learn more.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jason Morgan, editor of Fleet Equipment, and welcome to Fleet Equipment Unscripted. Today, we're talking with Tracy Mack-Askew, Chief Engineer, Chassis and Vocational Engineering for Daimler Trucks North America. Tracy, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And that is a new title relatively recently, so congrats on the promotion. Glad to catch up with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm excited about the future, and I'm excited to talk to you again.
Right. So last time that we connected, it was during the launch of the Western Star 49X. At that time, you were the head of the Heavy Duty Vocational Platform project, which brought that product to life. A number of big talking points during that product launch. The ease of upfit was a big talking point, as an example. What are some lessons you learned from that project that you can bring over to other vocational models now in your new role?
Well, we had what we called the Vocational Bible on the 49X, and some of the major wins were clear back of cab, like truly absolute clear back of cab. And there are a lot of changes coming with diesel, actually, with new after treatment systems that are making the emission standards, the packaging of the after treatment much larger, that is threatening clear back of cab. We absolutely have to figure out ways to meet all of our emission standards, but also maintain for the vocational space that clear back of cab. And so that's something that's very important to me because I know it's very important to our customers and helps with that ease of upfit. And so that's something that I'm keeping my eye on as we're looking at emission standards for 2024 and beyond.
Yeah, and really, that's really interesting. I've had a few conversations this year so far where people have hinted at the really kind of drastic changes that'll come with the new diesel emission standards. The vocational angle here is really interesting because you do need to keep that upfit. Speaking of that, though, let's zoom out a little bit and talk a little bit company and corporate wide, because you mentioned really fighting to keep that clear back of camp. But Detroit clearly goes in a number of Daimler Trucks brands. The powertrain does, right? And Daimler has really put a stronger emphasis on the vocational market, right? Going to market by application and not so much by brand per se and the nameplate that's on the truck. How do you see that impacting the development of products and engineering going forward?
It's interesting that you say that because, as you well know, we did a sales reorganization and we decided not to be specific to brand. We worked really hard in the engineering space to not have a Freightliner camp or a Western Star camp, but to have a Daimler camp. And so we have people that are experts now in vocational. We have people that are experts in on highway, but we are not focused on brand specific items anymore in engineering. And so right now, the new frontier, so to speak, is maintaining that diesel dominance, but also growing our prowess in the electric space. And so that's the new frontier, and really working to make sure that we have a cohesive workforce that can do both diesel and electric, and not that we are delineating the teams in between those two spaces. We're really working hard to infuse both types of propulsion throughout engineering.
Right. We talked to the electric truck team not too long ago. So excited to see that coming through, especially on the EM2 side, right, which would fall more maybe pick up and delivery, maybe vocational, depending on what you're talking about there. Yes. But very cool to see that. We look forward to seeing how those orders panned out as really the whole industry shifts. In the short term, on the vocational side, there's lots of chatter about vocational picking up, going into Q3, Q4. Hopefully, and then on the infrastructure bill side, hopefully we'll see something come from that, right? That'll boost those markets. But what are you hearing, talking with customers? What do they expect in terms of their equipment acquisition expectations and equipment demands going forward to the end of the year?
Well, demand is actually through the roof, which is so amazing and wonderful. So we are super excited. Even from my old job, 49X, I mean, we're essentially sold out for this year.
Oh, wow.
We are super strong and bullish on the infrastructure bill. And I mean, we can't get enough of any segment right now. And so that is extremely exciting. Construction for sure. Everything is really picking up. So try and get your orders now because the demand is just ridiculously wonderful. So that's a blessing, and we're excited about that.
Very good. Okay, lastly, I have to ask kind of off the cuff here. So going into a new position, always exciting. What are you personally excited about to bring to the engineering team and the design team? I mean, the back of cab, clearly a very specific example, but just kind of from a personal point of view of what you hope to bring in your new role.
Well, I am super competitive. And so, what I'm excited about is bringing that vocational knowledge for sure, but also really to be able to shape the future of electric trucking. And, Daimler, we believe in elevating the industry. And so we want to elevate the industry, and I'm very competitive, and I want to ensure and solidify our position, not only now, but into the future. And that's what really excites me about this position, really growing that technical expertise with every type of propulsion and making sure that we maintain our market leadership. And so that's what makes this super exciting for me. And I'm really just blessed and honored to be able to lead and serve in this new capacity, being able to bring my experiences from 49X into this field and solidifying Daimler's position for the future.
Yeah, very cool. I know electrification is always one of the most read things on our site. Fleets are very interested in it, and we're interested to see how that progresses over the next year, 2 years, and even going into, as you've mentioned earlier, those next round of diesel emissions. We might start to see some ROI crossover there when you compare it to electric. So hopefully some cool things ahead. Thank you so much for taking the time. It's been wonderful chatting.
It's absolutely my pleasure. Thank you so much, Jason.